community places in Fort Worth that are African American owned, and we should be supporting all of them. And so the Premium is located at 215 West 8th Street between Throckmorton and Houston. So come get a parking space. Come patronize. Give a shout out. Yes. To everybody who makes this production possible. For those of you who see the ladies in the red t-shirts, they are brought to you by Static Tees, Kelly Smith, and then 88 Designs did the t-shirts for today. You met Yolanda from BLT Mobile Bar. Tasha from Nana's Kitchen provided us with dinner tonight, but we haven't had dinner, so we might be grumpy. Adrian Carroll with Adrian Carroll Photography and Videography is here tonight videoing. Makia is here from OCG in the background. And then my son came from Tintin to make sure that we got everything going. So shout out to Rylan. And our girl Shelby is on vacation, but Shelby, we made it and we got it going on. So I think that's all of my shout outs. And so Stae, I'm turning it back over to you so we can get this party started.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kelly, for everything. And what Kelly has created here for us is a safe space for women of Tarrant County to be able to come together and talk about a plethora of different topics. And so I want everyone out there who's watching to know that you are included. So please feel free to drop your comments, your questions, because I will actively be watching the chat and we will make sure that those things are addressed. As you heard in the introductions, we have a couple of mental health professionals in here who will be able to probably take a deeper dive than some of us, but we just going to share our own crazy and our own whatever we got going on candidly, transparently, and openly. And so what I would like to do this time, because ladies, feel free to just jump in, when the spirit hits you, as they say. We don't have to necessarily raise hands. We want to be respectful of everybody, but we want this to be a candid conversation. But because I know Dr. L and her profession, I'm going to start with her and then everybody else just jump in. But what I would like for her to talk about first and foremost is just give us a general understanding of what mental health really is. And then we'll just kind of go from there. Does that sound good? Yes. All right, it's on you.
Well, we know there's always a Western dictionary, but the official name term, mental health is something that I'm going to say that we, first of all, do not pay enough close attention to. Right? It is basically how we operate in everyday society. Your mental is what you need even to wake up and get out of bed in the morning. So when I think of what mental health is, it is what I need to continue, to start, to push forward, to even begin to think for that day. When I think about mental health, we can go down and say all the fancy words, but it's just something that we just need to move, to even begin our day. Don't you think so?
I agree. Okay, absolutely. When you think about your mental clarity, you need it to function.
Yes.
So it's paramount.
Yeah. Because I feel like that we take it for granted. We gonna wake up in the morning, we gonna start our day and things like that. But there are some people that I know that I have personally counseled that cannot even, when they go to sleep at night, sometimes they wish they didn't wake up because they are so broken. They feel like they just have nothing else. And that tells me where their mental health is. It is not where it needs to be. Everybody is different, of course. So what I may need, what I may need to get my day started and to move and be proactive, someone else may not need that. They might like, hey, the birds is chirping. Let's wake up. Other people, you might say the birds is chirping. I don't hear them damn birds. I mean, just really, that's just where they are in their life. So it is very individual. but you need to start what is healthy for that person.
Okay, well, Dr. M, I have a question, and for you or Lanisha or whomever else, just want to jump in. One of the things that we always say is, and I'm just talking about Black women, I'm not talking about anybody else.
Right.
We as Black women, we don't always believe we need help. And so, or our help always comes from the Lord. I'm going to pray and I'm going to give it to the Lord, but I never really give it to the Lord. I keep picking it back up. And so because I keep picking it back up, he can't fix it anyway. And so we say, okay, but I prayed about it, but it didn't change. And so the other day we were having the conversation and we were saying, the scripture, faith without works is dead. And so I think that's how I feel about like my mental health. My faith says, okay, I'm going to pray about it, but my work is I need somebody to help me through it. I need the physical piece. And so as Black women, we put that S on our chest and we just keep moving and we keep moving. And we don't believe that we can be weak or we can be vulnerable or we can cry because we've been taught not to. So how do we change that narrative?
I would say one thing that you mentioned, because one thing to do is tap into a person's support system. It might be your family, maybe your friends that you can speak to and talk to. That includes your faith-based, church, right? There's stigma there, like you said, pray about it. They say hang on in there and hold on all those gospel cliches, but that doesn't tell you what to do or what steps to take or how to do it. Even when we pray about it, we say leave it on the altar. How? What does it look like? What does that mean? So, counseling is important. To go to a professional. We even have pastors who are leaving us by choice. They're taking their own lives because sometimes they don't even have an answer. But the word says there is safety in a multitude of counselors. And so, we can start by taking the whole word into account.
Well, we have a comment here that says, and this is from Shagronda Traveler. We are afraid that if we share, we will become the topic of conversation after the fact. And I think that that's something that plagues a lot of people. They don't want to say that they're struggling in any way, shape, or form because they feel like it'll be looked at as a sign of weakness. And then people, the rumor mills will start. Because I remember even myself as a young child hearing my mother speak about somebody being depressed, and they would actually whisper it, she's been depressed, as if it was something of shame. And so what is it that we can do to move that needle to help the people that are having those issues or feel like I don't want to use the word depressed or people are going to think I'm crazy? And what does crazy even mean? I think that's a word that gets thrown around way too often. But what does anybody feel like we can do just to move that needle where we can come out and ask for that help without that fear of ridicule or being ashamed?
I think that one of the things that we as Black women have to learn how to do is trust. And I think that's where a lot of our problems come from. We have a serious trust issue. And until we can learn that everybody is not out to get you in your circle. And if they are, change them.
That's not your circle, right?
But to start with, you really have to surround yourself with people that you trust. And once you get that, then the conversation goes to me. I'm so blessed and so fortunate that I've been intentional about that too. I just don't, just because you are an associate doesn't mean we're friends.
Yeah.
So I'm very, but I really think that that's a good part of the problem.
I believe though, trust starts when you're younger. And I know for me, growing up in African American household, you don't talk about your business outside of this household. And so that was instilled in me as a little girl. And so as I got older, I don't feel comfortable saying, not even to my family, some things of what I have going on. I was a teenage mom, and so being a teenage mom, I got ridiculed from the church. I got ridiculed from my family. I got ridiculed from a lot of outside entities. So that trust that even when you try to build that, so when you're younger and you already know, like, don't talk about your business. Then when it's public, you can't hide being pregnant, regardless of how much you try. And then you get ridicule from people that you love, people that you admire, people that you feel like shouldn't judge you. So now that as you get older in the world, it's hard to, really start bringing that trust factor and start trying to gain that trust factor because it's been broken for so long. And so I think that for me, counseling has been really, really effective. But what happened was I had to go back to be that little girl when that trust first got broken, and then start rebuilding from that point. And I believe that that's what we really don't do. We don't go back to those trauma days. We don't go back to that little kid that we're still trying to build those walls and protect around. We try to act upon where we're at now. And unfortunately, the walls are going to eventually have to come down.
Ladies, I'm gonna pause for one brief second. I need y'all to speak up on Facebook. They're saying they can't hear y'all well, and I don't want them to miss anything that we're saying. So thank y'all for the dialogue, but we don't have to use our inside voices. We can speak up. We can speak up.
Turned a different way. Can you turn it out?
Yeah.
So we can all make sure.
Just make sure, because we want them to hear everything. So thank y'all so much.
I agree with both of y'all. Like you said, it does start with trust. And like you said, a lot of times trust is broken as a young child. And what people that should know that as professionals, we are under a code of ethics. And we're not about to lose our license out here talking about the business. We work hard, it costs a lot of money. And it's not worth it. And the thing is, when you go into this profession, I should think, because you really do have a heart of people, and they need some type of help. And really, I feel like everybody needs to be in counseling.
Yes.
I learned when I was going through school that every good counselor has a counselor. And when one of my friends, who is also a counselor, she said it very well. We were in a training a couple weeks ago, a retreat, and she said we go to the doctor when we're not feeling well. We go take our cars to get their little checkup. We go and get our teeth cleaned and things like that. But we don't go and get our minds, just regulate it and just let it all out. Because sometimes it's not that you really going through any trauma. It can just be life is just heavy. Mm-hmm. And you don't even understand it until it starts showing up in your body, and like now it's like, whoa, and now people are using that word. She crazy. She just snapping on everybody,
Mm-hmm.
But no, she's not crazy. It's just like, she just needs to be like, rejuvenated, regulated, let some of this stuff out. And yes, pray about it. When I say pray about it, I mean, pray about those people that are coming to our circle. Pray about, letting go of those trust issues. But God put us in place. Just like you put that heart surgeon in place. You're not going to go and see a podiatrist if you have issues with your heart.
Well, my issue, I had someone very near and dear to my heart that pretty much masked all the pain and depression for a long time.
Yeah.
Until one day they said to me, I don't want to be here anymore. And I said, you're 17, what do you mean you don't want to be here anymore? What is that? What are you saying? And we cried together because I couldn't understand it. But at the same time, where do I go for help? Who do you call?
Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't find you.
Yeah.
And they probably needed somebody who looked like them.
Yeah.
And that was problematic for me because I didn't know how to help. My mother committed suicide, and now here I have a family member that's depressed, and I want to help, but I don't know where to start.
Yeah.
Because I'm what Kelly said, they taught us, you don't cry,
You're gonna pray about it. It's gonna be all right.
Yeah.
And that's what Big Mama said, and that's what we did, and now it was okay.
Yeah.
It was always okay. But when you have a 17-year-old telling you, I don't want to be here anymore, and they mean it,
Yeah.
it was difficult. And it has been a journey since then. We're down, 10, 12 years later, but still, it's a journey because they mask it so well, you don't ever know what they're capable of because you thought, well, I saw them yesterday, they were doing good.
Yeah.
And then you get a phone call that says, I'm struggling, I'm overwhelmed,
Yes.
and I don't want you to come and save me. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
And it is hard because it hasn't been. I think the Black therapists, especially the Black
It's hard to
women
find
therapists,
one. It's hard to
It
find
is.
one. I'm
It
telling you,
is.
I tried. It's hard to find one.
So we definitely need to get those resources out there.
Yeah, so this is good because people can see and they can
Yes.
get your information. So this is really good
Yeah.
because it was a struggle for me and it's still a struggle. So every day I'm like, I always have to listen for the cues, whether they're in that roller coaster, that depression or not. I'm listening for it every day.
Yes.
Every day. So hell, I need counseling now.
Yeah.
But that's true. I want to say this really quick because Tasha, you said something. If you will go to our website and to our Facebook page, AOC, AOC.org or at AIDS Outreach Center on Facebook or Instagram, there are listings of resources available to where you can go find counselors, where, suicide prevention hotline. There are all of those resources that are out there. So we may not touch on them today, but just please know that they are posted out there on our website and on our Facebook page.
Yeah, and that's something great for family members to know as well. When you do have a family member, don't try to handle it yourself. You know what I mean? It's immediately try to seek out those resources. And I know it can be difficult, but we're not the professionals. And you said it best. You're like, no, I need counseling. And that's the thing. We all need counseling and we're not equipped to do that. And so, yeah, reach out and just try to be as proactive as we can instead of reactive, like those first signs, like don't ignore anything, just, introduce to help. And LaWanda, you had something?
Yeah, I was just gonna add, the reality of it is, with the youth now, I mean, that my kids are grown, but that is so heavy on my mind now because these kids are struggling.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we help them?
Right.
I think it's a bigger issue than a one-off. We've got a major problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for one to tell you, I don't want to be here anymore, when you think about it, their actions are telling us that a lot of them don't want to be here anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they're serious about it too.
They're
know.
so serious
I
about
know that I did that. So
Yeah.
we as a community have got to figure out a way how to get our arms around this problem because it's major.
Mm-hmm.
It's major. And that's our next generation.
Yes.
Well, I believe though, I believe that it goes back to how we were raised. Sometimes we don't know how to handle the next generation because we only know what we were taught, what we saw, what we experienced. And so I have children. I have a 22-year-old. I have an 18-year-old. He's graduating this year, and I have a 14-year-old. And I see all the time with their friends, with my nieces and nephews, with the company that they keep sometimes, that they are struggling. One of my sons wears everything on his shoulders. And so, forget he's a senior this year, and he's graduating. And I was like, okay, you want to grade bottles for prom? I'm like, okay, you want to do grade bottles? I'm extra, we don't do this. And so he saw how much it costs. I don't want you to spend that much money. Don't pay my pocket. Don't worry about what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
About you. So the amount of money that I have to spend, I want to make sure that you're happy. So this is what you desire, let's do it. And so I think that a lot of times these youth are really having to really internalize different things that we didn't have to. I remember that I never knew if my mama was broke. I didn't know what was going on. Now we stayed in the hood, we stayed in 5-6, we stayed next to my brother's house, and I can't say that we struggled. Because it was amazing to me.
Right.
But in this day and time, sometimes I ask my friends, sometimes I call us
Yeah.
Because I feel like we're trying to raise these children to be better than what we had. And they became entitled sport brats.
Yes.
That feel like the sun has risen and on them. And so they don't know about adversity. They don't know what that looks like. They don't know how to handle that. And we have shielded them from so much. And so for me, again, I was a teenage mom. I grew up really fast. But I shielded my children from so much things that I went through. With, just in relationships, in life. And they have never seen me struggle. They have never known that if I went to bed hungry just so they can eat. But honestly, they think different. They act different and they internalize so different. And the one caveat that I realized is because we are not used to, kids stressed out. What you got to be stressed out for? You ain't got no bills. What you mad for? But honestly, we are really saying like, you all right. But honestly, they're saying, no, I'm not.
Right.
We don't listen. We don't listen to what they're saying. We're not really taking it to heart because that's not how we were raised. That's not how we were brought up. You be a kid and let me be an adult. Let me take care of this. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
But Crystal, the other part to that is we didn't have social media.
Right. Oh, you took the words out of my
And
mouth.
the rap music was different. Like the music is crazy now. It's crazy.
We listen to K-104 what they would say. I love talking about booty shaking and stuff. I'm like, oh wait, the school wait, it's happening. So it's just
I
different.
think
It's
a
6
lot
o'clock,
of
grand
it-
speaking time to rock.
I think a lot of it is too that the parents now are not much older than the kids. So they can't very well teach them what they don't know.
Yeah.
And so if that's not something they provide, it's not something they can teach them.
Yeah.
And unfortunately they're trying to be their kids' friends. And so the few parents that are trying to teach those kids are mad, they're rebellious because you don't know what I'm going through. Like, we were never kids. We just came out adults.
Yeah.
And so they don't understand. We just had a different things we were dealing with, but not that different from what they're dealing with now. And so I know one of the things that we're having to do from the medical perspective is when those kids come in, if they're age 12 and up, we now are required to ask those questions, but the parents can't answer the questions. We have to give that paperwork to the child and let that child answer the questions. Because mom is going to say, no, nothing's wrong.
Yeah.
They're
So what
okay.
questions,
But
babe?
it's if they felt
I
like,
don't know.
just for example, if they feel like they just don't want to live anymore, is there something that's bothering them that they've never talked to their parents about? Those kind of questions. So they're formulating those questions right now, but it's not for the parent to ask the question, to answer the question. We cannot give it to the parent. It's got to be from the child. The child is going to be more honest.
Yeah.
And sometimes the parents just don't know because the child is not talking.
Yeah.
Because as we were growing up, we didn't. And I'm a little bit confused, and there were probably things that my mom went through her grade not knowing about me.
Yeah.
And that's just being really honest.
Yeah.
I recently experienced, though my medical professional, my doctor, asked me those questions. So that's something that's now, I think,
It is.
which is good.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
It's almost the first question they ask you.
It is.
But what happens if you say yes? If you answer yes
What do you go
to any of those questions?
I would
What
hope they have a plan.
I think
Right.
there is a plan.
Yeah.
I really believe there is a plan.
Right. There has to be some sort of referral process. Yeah.
Process.
Yeah. Something like that.
Is there a plan? It is, because I'm a part of this thing called Assist, and it is suicide prevention. And actually, what we do, we teach others just like you, to be able to go out and assist others who are struggling and maybe contemplating suicide and things like that, and knowing that you don't have to be the savior and try to make sure that they're walking like this, but it's a program that helps you learn how to keep them safe for now, and that's what it's about. And actually, I'm going to be teaching class next month on this, where, you know, just different organizations come in, people come in, and the purpose of it is so that it's everybody out there that is trained on suicide prevention, because that is so heavy. And a lot of the doctors were not, so they're coming to the trainings. So we do NFL trainings, NBA. I mean, it is huge. So it's not just local. This is worldwide.
They also
program.
teach it on base.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
military.
good,
I'm
good.
military, and that's, you know, that is a high rate. And so that is like my passion is to really work with those who are ex-military, especially because sometimes when they get out, they don't know how to adjust. And it's very different because everything in the military is very structured. And it's not structured in what we call a civilian world.
Right.
So a lot of times they just like they don't know what to do. It's almost like I don't want to say being institutionalized, but it is, because our world was, you woke up this morning, you ate 3 times a day at this time you had PT at this time. You know, it was very structured. And when you're out, it's like, I don't like this. It's too much going on. So Assist is a really good program, and I would just encourage everyone to just, you know, read up about it. Like I said, I'm doing a training next month because it is very helpful. And it takes the pressure off the caregiver, like you say, what to do, because it's a program, a path that they follow called PAL. And it's amazing.
And I needed to know that, and I still need to know that, because part of this was going on during COVID. And it was crazy if you needed a doctor during COVID, especially if you needed a therapist during COVID, because then it was all, virtual.
Yeah.
And so the therapist says, well, I need you to write this and write that, and talk about the next session. So the next session comes, she's opened up about everything, and then it's like, oh, your 60 minutes is over. We'll talk. And how do you're unpacking all this stuff, trusting the therapist? It's COVID, it's virtual, and now the 60 minutes is up, and I'm left with the mess because it's a mess at this point.
Right.
So now I know I have the wrong therapist, but I haven't worked out yet.
And I think what happened at that point, it was a lot of therapists that was not trained
Exactly.
to tell us.
And it hurt. It hurt the client even more. Yeah, it hurt her even more. You see?
Yeah.
So now it's like, I don't even want to go
Because you need to know what to unpack in that period of time, because you know how much time you have. Because you have other clients coming, you know, you can't go too deep, especially, okay, we're going to do this, we're going to cover this. And I don't want to say a good counselor, because they could be they're real brilliant. They just did not know how to do a tele counseling.
It was COVID was new for everybody.
Right.
Because what was virtual? I didn't know it was. I didn't know that training before to go out there. It was bad though. It was bad. So now you have a person that is depressed, that needed counseling, that has had that type of experience, who now doesn't care to go to counseling anymore, doesn't trust any counselor. So but they
It's a
still have all
vicious
these
cycle.
issues. Yeah. And so that's why it goes on for years.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't stop, maybe till you meet a Dr. L. But I told you, Tanya was good.
Yeah.
She was good, and she was a great listener, and I think that she helped at the point where we needed help. Tanya, Dr. Payne, she was very good.
Oh,
She's a sweetheart. Yeah.
To speak to what you're saying, first let me say thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I honor and respect your all's experience. But even something you were talking about earlier, the stigma that comes with, seeking help and counseling. COVID and the pandemic really busted the door wide open.
Right.
In a lot of ways. Some good and some bad. For one, the mental health industry professionals, we have been asking for, what if some of our in-person clients have transportation issues? Can we do a phone call? Can we do video? So we had actually been trying to make that more comfortable as an option. It was turned down, but when the pandemic happened, all of a sudden, they couldn't get enough money. And
then they said, hey, any way you can get to the people, get to the people. So some people who never would have walked through the office door of the agency got online.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I do think that's why you feel a shortfall of the train.
Yeah.
The same thing happens when people show up in person. Because number one, some people don't show up until it's a crisis.
Yes.
And so that's something that we need to work on a little better. We spoke about students in school. I have a background in education. 20 years, I can't believe it. But I've worked with young people. I've worked with, at this point, from age 3 up into high school. I love counseling women. I've had opportunities with couples as well. But, you know, they're exposed online to celebrities who are now pushing mental health. Even Taraji P. Henson, when she did that campaign and let everybody know, you know. So they, just like we kind of struggle with keeping up with the Joneses, that can affect them online, but it can be a good thing too, because now we're exposed to more of their counterparts that may not look like us, and have the therapist is cool. Yeah, they bring up in casual conversation. What did you do this weekend? Girl, yeah, you know, I had to go check in with my therapist, and then we went shopping. I mean, they're just rallying it all. And our community was not doing that prior to the pandemic. There's some pros and some cons.
Yeah, because I do think they need to be careful with acting like it's an accessory.
Yeah.
Because now I do feel like, because of the celebrities and how it's been, like, I appreciate them, you know, putting it out there, but it's almost like it's just an accessory. You know, I got my therapist, and it's like, do you really understand that when you come into the office to talk to us, like, what are you letting go? Are you getting the help that you need, or is this something just because it's the end to do now? And that goes back to social media.
Okay, so I'm gonna jump in here.
Yeah.
Because I don't mind anybody knowing that I go to therapy. Actually, my therapist almost tried to fire me